Welcome back to the Election Center, because tonight might be the wildest midterm night this country has seen in generations. It's November 2026 and the Democrats have one job: flip the United States Senate and put a check on President Trump before his second term runs out the clock. Nothing less than the fact that the balance of Washington is riding on the next few hours. Here's the math nobody can escape tonight. Democrats need 4 Republican seats to take the majority. Republicans hold 53 right now, and they only need 50 to keep control, because Vice President J.D. Vance breaks any tie. The map, though, brutal for Democrats. Republicans are defending 22 of 35 seats up tonight, which sounds like an easy Democratic night. But look closer. Democrats are protecting 2 seats in states Trump actually won: Georgia and Michigan, plus 5 more in states Harris carried by only a silver. Republicans, meanwhile, are only exposed in 1 Harris state, Maine, and 1 narrow Trump state, North Carolina. If you want to catch every call the second it happens, hit subscribe. It helps this channel keep making coverage like this, and right now most of you are watching haven't watched yet. Let's fix that before the polls even close. 7 o'clock Eastern. First bell of the night, Georgia, Kentucky, South Carolina and Virginia start reporting, with a few precincts trickling in from Florida and New Hampshire too. And we already have a call. Lindsey Graham wins South Carolina, defeating Democrat Andy Andrews, locking in a 5th term. No shock there. Georgia is a different story, too close to call, and that's a problem for Democrats, because incumbent Jon Ossoff is defending one of the 2 Democratic seats sitting in Trump territory. If the Senate flips tonight, this seat must hold. Kentucky brings a change of the guard. Republican Congressman Andy Barr is trying to succeed Mitch McConnell himself, the longest-serving senator in the state history, against former state representative Charles Booker. Virginia looks safer for Democrats, with Mark Warner favored by a 4th term over Army veteran David Williams, but it's still too early to clock it. Quick scoreboard check. With Graham's win, Republicans sit at 32, Democrats at 34. Remember, 50 wins in for the GOP thanks to Vance's tiebreak, while Democrats need 51 outright. Barr just got the call in Kentucky, defeated Booker, and pushed Republicans to 33. Virginia and Georgia remain live. Word from Democratic operatives is that turnout around Atlanta is running unusually hot tonight, which could be exactly the signal Ossoff needs. Another call just landed. Max Warner holds Virginia, beating Burt Mizusawa in an expected result, pushing Democrats to 35. Georgia is now the only race left uncalled before the next wave of poll closings at 73. For a live country-by-country breakdown of every Senate and House race tonight, 7:30 hits and North Carolina, Ohio, West Virginia open. 2 of these states could decide who runs the chamber. Shelley Moore cruises to a 3rd term in West Virginia. No surprises whatsoever. North Carolina stays locked, too close to call, as former RNC chair Michael Whatley tries to hold the seat for Republicans against former Governor Roy Cooper. Democrats have lost the last 4 statewide races here by single digits, but this one feels different. If we turn our attention to Ohio, the Bucky state brings in its own political drama. Appointed Senator John Husted is fighting for a full term against former Senator Sherrod Brown, who's trying to reclaim a seat he lost 2 years back. Scoreboard update. 22 races still outstanding. Democrats at 35, Republicans at 34. Now the biggest wave of the night is loading. 31 races called in over the next several hours. Early signs already point towards a blue wave, though the White House insists Republicans hold regardless. 8 o'clock. 12 contests decided at 1, from Maine down to Oklahoma. Buckle up. Chris Coons wins a 4th term in Delaware over Michael Katz. Ed Markey holds Massachusetts against John Dayton. Cory Booker wins a 3rd term in New Jersey. Jack Reed extends a Senate career that started in 1996, holding Rhode Island comfortably. On the other side, Barry Moore emerges from Alabama's crowded field to succeed Tommy Tuberville, defeating Democrat Everett West. Ashley Moody wins her 1st full term in Florida by double digits over Alexander Windman. Cindy Hyde-Smith rolls to 2nd full term in Mississippi. Kevin Hern wins against Oklahoma easily. Bill Hagerty holds Tennessee without much drama. That's a wall of calls, but Illinois stays open, where Lieutenant Governor Juliana Strayton faces former state party chairman Don Tracy for Dick Durbin's old seat. Maine is the marquee race of the night. Susan Collins, the last Republican who could ever win here, faces oyster farmer Graham Plattner in the only seat Republicans defend in Harris's country. If nobody clears 50%, this one heads to ranked choice tabulation, and plenty of polling suggests that's exactly where it's headed. New Hampshire adds another layer, with Congressman Chris Pappas defending an open Democratic seat against former Senator John Sununu, who lost his exact race back in 2008. Scoreboard time again. Republicans and Democrats sit tied at 39 apiece, with 22 seats still outstanding in 16 states yet to close, including Michigan, Nebraska, Texas, and Alaska. 8:30, Arkansas closes. Tom Cotton wins the third term easily against Schoffer, pushing Republicans ahead 40-39. Straighten wins by wide double-digit margin, tying it back up at 40 apiece. 20 races remain, and Democrats still need a net gain of 4. Big one just dropped. New Hampshire goes to Pappas, beating Sununu by just under 5 points. This was a must-hold, and with it secured, Democrats can turn their focus to North Carolina, Maine, and of course, Georgia, where Ossoff keeps chipping into the Republican lead built out of the rural countries. Subscribe if you want second-by-second version of this instead of waiting for a recap tomorrow. It costs nothing and it keeps this coverage alive. Fulton County numbers just moved. Ossoff has pulled within a single point of Congressman Mike Collins with roughly 70% counted. Georgia, Ohio, Maine, North Carolina are still open. None past the halfway mark. Party insiders on both sides admit the numbers are trending blue, but Republicans still believe that they hold the chamber when the dust settles. 9 o'clock, 11 races at once. Michigan, Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska, Texas, this is the heart of the battle. John Hickenlooper won a second term in Colorado over Janek Joshi. Ben Ray Lujan cruises in New Mexico after Republicans failed to even field a candidate. Louisiana Congresswoman Julia Letlow, riding a Trump endorsement that knocked out incumbent Bill Cassidy in the primary, wins easily over Jamie Davis. Mike Round holds South Dakota. Harriet Hageman wins Wyoming, replacing the retired Cynthia Loomis. Iowa stays open. Republican Ashley Hinson against Democratic State Representative Josh Turek. Kansas stays open too. Incumbent Roger Marshall facing a surprisingly strong run from Kansas City pastor Adam Hamilton in a state that's drifted further left than almost anywhere else under Trump. Michigan might be the best pickup chance Republicans have all night. Democrats are defending an open seat after Gary Peters retired, with progressive health official Abdul El-Sayed against former Congressman Mike Rogers, who nearly won this exact same race last cycle. Minnesota gets tighter than expected too. Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan against former NFL sideline reporter Michelle Tafoya. Nebraska stays a nail-biter, independent Dan Osborne mounting another strong run against Republican Pete Ricketts. And in Texas, Attorney General Ken Paxton, fresh off knocking out incumbent John Cornyn in the primary, faces State Representative James, who's chasing history as the first Democrat to win statewide office in Texas this century. 43 seats apiece now, with 10 races still live in only 4 western states left to close. Kansas comes off the board. Roger Marshall holds by roughly 10 points over Adam Hamilton, an expected Republican win. That puts the GOP at 44. Democrats steady at 43. Georgia just flipped the script. Ossoff has taken his first lead of the night, and our numbers show that margin only growing from here. Confirmed, Ossoff wins re-election in Georgia, 5 points clear of Mike Collins in the first tally, avoiding a runoff entirely. It's the biggest hold Democrats needed tonight, and both parties now sit tied at 44. 10 o'clock approaches, still tied at 44 with 8 races outstanding. Whatley clings to a narrow lead in North Carolina, though the outstanding vote leans Cooper's way. Husted holds a 2-point edge over Brown in Ohio with a third of the vote left. Democrats lead in Maine, Michigan, and Iowa, though those margins are expected to shrink. Osborne's early lead in Nebraska is expected to fade as more rural countries report. And in Texas, Paxton takes his first lead of the night as the heavily Democratic early vote gets fully counted first. Montana closes at 10-2, a genuine 3-way race between Republican Kurt Elmy, Democratic Eliana Bankhead and Independent Seth Bodnar all set in motion after Senator Steve Daines retired at the last possible moment. Texas gets called. Paxton survives Tellurico by just a point and a half. The closest a Democrat has come in that state since the 80s and more than 12 points tighter than Trump's own margin there 2 years ago. Republicans take the win anyway, clearing out 5 must-hold seats standing between them and the guaranteed majority. Iowa follows. Hinson holds for Republicans by more than 4 points over Turek, clearing hurdle number 2. Subscribing generally helps this coverage keeps running throughout the night, so if you've made this far, now's a good time. Minnesota comes off the board too. Flanagan holds for Democrats by 7.5 points over Tafoya, pushing Democrats to 45. From here, their path is clear on paper. Flip North Carolina, flip Maine, hold Michigan and Oregon, then find 2 more wins somewhere in Ohio, Nebraska, Montana, or Alaska. North Carolina flips. Roy Cooper wins the first flip of the entire night, beating Watley by 4.5 points and handing Democrats their first federal win in that state since 2008. Ohio gets called for Husted, who edges out Brown by just over 2 points. A full point tighter than Brown's loss last 2 years ago, but still enough to deal a real blow to Democratic hopes. Montana holds for Republicans. Elmay survives the split opposition vote, even though Bankhead and Bodnar's combined total narrows outpace him, moving the GOP to within 1 seat of the majority. Midnight Nears in Alaska is the last state standing. Republicans lead 48 to 47, needing just 2 more to lock the chamber, with Vance's tiebreaker in reserve. No calls expected tonight in Maine, Michigan, and Alaska. Nebraska looks close to call, though Osborne's lead has all but vanished with 80% counted. Alaska's polls finally close in at midnight. Incumbent Dan Sullivan faces a serious threat from former Congressman Mary Peltolo, and like Maine, this state uses ranked choice voters, meaning tonight might not settle anything at all. Republicans clinched to the majority, 50 seats secured as Pete Ricketts survived Osborne's challenge in Nebraska by under 4 points. 3 races remain: Maine, Michigan, and Alaska. The 3 Senate races are still hanging. Republicans are locked in at 50, Democrats sit at 47, but Maine is trending their way and Michigan keeps tightening as absentee ballots roll in. Michigan finally calls. Abdul El-Sayed holds the seat by just over a point over Mike Rogers, his 2nd straight loss in a state Republicans haven't won a Senate seat in more than 30 years. Democrats guarantee at least a net gain tonight, moving to 48. Maine looks close to avoiding ranked choice entirely, with Blattner holding above 50% through most of the count, though the remaining ballots lean more conservative. Alaska tightens to within a point, all but certain to head to ranked choice tabulation of its own. Alaska pulls even tighter, Peltolo within 1,000 votes of Sullivan. Maine slips below 50% as rural countries finish reporting, setting up ranked choice there too. Maine gets its final call. Blattner flips the seat, ending Susan Collins' 3rd decade run in Washington with just under 52% after ranked choice tabulation. Democrats reach 49, and here's the one that decides everything: Alaska flips. Mary Peltolo defeats Dan Sullivan by the narrowest of ranked choice margins, 50.5 to 49.5, in a state Trump won by 30 points just 2 years ago. The Senate finishes tied at 55, meaning Vice President Vance holds the tiebreaker and Majority Leader John Thune can't afford a single defection all cycle. That's the whole board call from the first poll closing to the final ranked choice count. If you want breakdowns like this delivered the moment results land, subscribing is the easiest way to catch the next one. Thank you for riding along tonight. See you in the next one.